Good Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Now let's get to your headlines. Developing right now, Minneapolis police are looking for whoever shot and killed a 14-year-old boy during a fight near the Federal Reserve Building downtown. Shortly after 9 last night, officers found the boy on the ground after he was shot. First responders took him to the hospital, but he did not survive. Among the dozen teens roughly who were in this fight, the police chief said he's confident they will arrest the shooter. Here's Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara.
Tough part about this for any parent is we don't know who our kids are hanging out with once they're outside of our home. And obviously we do have a problem with kids that have access to guns.
The chief says officers knew the 14-year-old victim because he was a suspect in another crime and he had been shot before. New this afternoon, the crowd-funded legal defense fund for Luigi Mangione is now over $1 million. Mangione is accused in the deadly shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. According to organizers of the fundraiser, more than 28,000 people have donated money. They've upped the goal now to $1.5 million. Mangione is facing both state and federal charges in New York and Pennsylvania for murder connected to the shooting of Thompson. A look now from the White House today, where President Donald Trump is meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. It's the first face-to-face meeting between the two since Carney's election win. Canada is the U.S.'s second largest trading partner behind China. The U.S. imports hundreds of billions in goods like auto parts, crude oil, lumber, and aluminum every year from the country. The president also reiterating he would like Canada to become the 51st U.S. state. Here's both leaders discussing that.
I still believe that, but you know, it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut.
If I may. As you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, you know, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
Right now, there is a 25% tariff in place for imported goods from Mexico and Canada that are not compliant with the United States-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement, which is a deal brokered by Trump in his first term. Canada responded to Trump's actions with their own 25% tariffs on U.S. imports. President Trump is trying to extend his trade war to the cinema. Last night, he announced he's ordering a 100% tariff on foreign movies imported to the U.S. But imposing that tariff is easier said than done. Ian Russell explains why.
Like any good movie, making them is as complicated as the stories they tell.
Movies are an art form. They are incredibly collaborative.
And as we head into the summer movie season with more blockbuster movies around the corner, the costs may go up.
So there are just a lot of question marks and a lot of uncertainty.
On Sunday night, President Donald Trump posted this on his Truth Social account, saying in part that the movie industry in America is dying a very fast death because incentives from other countries to film there are drawing studios and filmmakers away from the U.S. The president's solution to that is a 100% tariff on movies that are produced outside the United States. He spoke to reporters outside the White House last night.
I'm not just blaming other nations, but other nations, a lot of them, have stolen our movie industry. And I'm saying if they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, then we should have a tariff on movies that come in.
My first reaction was, let's see what happens in 48 hours.
Peter Gregg is the chair of the Department of Emerging Media at St. Thomas and teaches film classes. He says his big concern is how a tariff on a film would work and what outside the United States actually means.
Does that mean it's money? Does that mean it's where the production takes place? Is it where the post-production takes place? Is it the company that owns the companies that make the film? The entire mechanism for enacting or enforcing a tariff is uncertain.
There's also the matter of incentives for filming. Gregg says a lot of filming happens in places like Hollywood or Atlanta, but other countries do offer benefits to movies that film there, like Canada.
They offer particular tax incentives to produce the content there, and they have a robust enough production crew environment.
And with so much uncertainty now, Greg says he wouldn't be surprised if this stops movie productions in their tracks, or some may not start at all.
It disincentivizes the making of a movie, period, as opposed to saying, oh, you know what, we should be producing this film in California, or we should be producing this film in Minnesota. Just says it's going to cost too much, let's not do it, it's not worth the risk.
New today, conservative leader Friedrich Merz will be Germany's next chancellor. He won the position on a historic second ballot. He's the first post-war candidate for German chancellor not to win on the first try. Germany is Europe's biggest economy, and many within the European Union hope Merz can navigate the war in Ukraine and trade policy with the United States. A look from Vatican City, where in a matter of hours, the highly secretive process to elect a new leader of the Catholic Church will begin. 133 Catholic cardinals will take part in the conclave, and we won't know they've chosen a new pope until white smoke pours out of a chimney atop the Sistine Chapel. Workers around the Vatican taking a vow of secrecy as well, saying they will not share any conversations they overhear. At least one vote is expected tomorrow. The cardinals need to have a 2/3 agreement about who they want to be pope. Otherwise, they'll just keep voting until that's reached. A look over Minneapolis today, where Mayor Jacob Frey just gave his State of the City address. In it, he addressed his priorities, including community safety, police reform, and affordable housing. Frey says, while yes, not everyone always agrees on how to move Minneapolis forward, the end goal is always the same.
This is all playing their part for the residents of Minneapolis. Different roles, same damn team. And that's our team. That's our city, cooperating, toiling, and yes, occasionally arguing. But above all, we do the noble work of good governance for this city, and we do it damn well.
Gordon Severson was at the State of the City today. He'll have much more on the mayor's speech and his outlook for the future of Minneapolis coming up on 4, 5, and 6. Well, after 20 years, the deadline to get a real ID before enforcement begins is finally here. Tomorrow, you will need a real ID to get on domestic flights and into some federal buildings. Maggie Vespa's in Chicago with what you need to know.
Hey there, the wait is almost over and the warnings are front and center. These "Do you have a real ID" signs posted around O'Hare as airports and TSA across the country pull out all the stops, making sure passengers know decades of those real ID delays and all the buildup finally coming to a head, and enforcement begins tomorrow. And because of that, we are seeing massive lines at DMVs across the country. At one Chicago location we checked out yesterday, people told us they've been waiting for up to 4 hours to get that new version of their ID. Again, all of this ahead of a switch in TSA enforcement. They're the federal agency mainly enforcing this, meaning starting tomorrow, you will have to, if you're using your driver's license or state ID to fly within the U.S., you'll have to have a real ID compliant driver's licenses. Those tend to have those stars or other specific designs in the upper right-hand corner. You can check that out on TSA's website. You can also use a few other federal forms of ID, specifically passports and a few other options. They say if you don't have real ID or those compliant forms when you get to the airport, make sure you allow, they say, an extra time, possibly up to an hour or more for basically extra screening as everybody prepares to make this massive transition at airports across the country. Maggie Vespa, NBC News, Chicago O'Hare.
All eyes are on downtown Minneapolis tonight for Game 1 of the second round of the NBA playoffs. The Wolves taking on the Golden State Warriors tonight at Target Center. The team has had nearly a week of practice ahead of this series, but says they still need Wolves fans to help kick it off right.
Bring the energy.
Bring the energy. We're going to need you.
Nas Reed. Everybody show your tattoos and be loud.
That post on X setting the team up for a big home court advantage against Golden State. Tickets for the game tonight, Game 1 of this best of 7 series, are on sale. We just checked Ticketmaster and it shows the cheapest seats around $130. Doors at Target Center open 90 minutes before tip-off, so get there early. And if you can't make it out to Target Center, Imagine Theater is inviting you to watch the games at their Eagan or Plymouth locations. Tickets are free, but they are first come, first serve, and will only be available at the box office on the day of the game. They're limiting 6 tickets per guest. Doors open tonight at 7:30 for Game 1 and 6:30 Thursday for Game 2. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.